Are you ready for a one-day adventure through Porto? This city's stunning architecture, culture, and scenic views will steal your heart, and we'll show you how to experience it all in just one day.
But before we get started, if you're planning a longer stay in Porto, check out our detailed guide on our blog with more tips to attractions, where to eat, where to stay, and other recommendations to help you make the most of your trip.
Yep, the link is in the description below.
So let's get started with our one day in Porto adventure. And you are going to start your morning at my favorite place, Livraria Lello. If you are a Harry Potter fan, which I am, are you, Dave?
I am a Harry Potter fan.
Oh, I've made him one. Don't miss booking your golden tickets for the very first entry to enjoy perusing what is literally the world's most beautiful bookstore. Big tip here, though, is you need to book well in advance on the Livraria Lello website itself. And we have a link below to our blog post where we show you exactly where to book it, what ticket to book, and what time you need to book your ticket for.
Once you've finished up, it's time to walk towards the nearby square and see the iconic tiles of the Carmo Church. Now, this is one of the most popular walls of tiles in all of Portugal. You can get that iconic photograph in the doorway with all the tiles around you. It really is a spectacular sight.
So, if you didn't have breakfast at your hotel, which we think you should, if you book a hotel in Porto, we highly recommend getting breakfast included because it not only saves you a lot of money, but it saves you a lot of time. However, if you didn't, like we didn't, it's time to go to the Cafe Majestic. It was once touted as the most beautiful cafe in the world.
It is beautiful.
And it also has a Harry Potter connection. J.K. Rowling spent a lot of time here, and it is said that she wrote the first Harry Potter book here.
It's located on the pedestrian-only shopping street of Santa Catarina. Now, I will warn you a little bit, it is quite expensive when you go in there, but I think it's really worth it. Just the atmosphere sitting in there. The food may not be the best and it may be more expensive, but it's the experience that you're actually paying for. Then you can head to go and see the most photographed church in all of Porto. What is that one?
That is the Santo Ildefonso Church. There are a lot of churches in Porto that are beautiful, and you're going to just want to see them all. They're covered in those lovely blue tiles, and this is one of the most pristine ones that they have out there with its fully preserved blue tile facade.
Next, you can head further downhill to the Bento train station. There is a lot of beauty in Porto, there's no doubt about that. And the train station is no exception. You know, if you haven't seen enough of those blue tiles by now.
You won't, I guarantee it.
But even if you have, you don't want to miss the Bento train station. It is touted as one of Europe's most beautiful train stations, thanks to its 20,000 azulejos, which is the Portuguese word for the blue tiles. And what's really cool is that every tile or every depiction tells a time in history in Portugal.
So I bet you're feeling a little bit peckish after all of this walking, or maybe you just want a cocktail.
Wow.
This is time to go to the Mercado de Bolhao. This is our favorite market in all of Europe, really. We had so much fun in here because, well, I'm not going to lie. Dave and I loved getting a Porto and tonic.
Yes.
And it's a giant goblet. They let you take it and you can walk around the market and get some vegetables or meats and cheeses or anything. It's just such a lively atmosphere.
Yeah, it really was. I really enjoyed actually just sitting down with a little tray of cheese, a little tray of meat, and our Porto and tonics, and just taking in the atmosphere of this particular market.
If you want to try some pastéis de nata while you're in Portugal, which you have to try it. It is their national food, I swear. You want to go across the street to the Confeteria de Bolhao. It's one of the oldest bakeries in Porto, and many say it has the best pastel de nata in the city.
Now here's a tip, don't fill up on all the food at the market because lunch is coming up pretty soon, but you're gonna have to stroll through the streets to actually get there. We're gonna head to the Ribeira, which is the most popular strolling, beautiful area of Porto.
Yeah, it's that iconic place with all of the colorful houses lining the waterfront. It's just beautiful. You'll recognize it from all the pictures.
And it's a good time to stroll through the streets. There's actually two different ways you can take to get down there. You can either walk straight down the main street there, which takes you down to the Dom Louis I Bridge, but from there you'll have to take stairs to go down. On this walk, you will pass the Porto Cathedral, so if you do want to see that, I highly recommend taking this way. If you're more into just strolling through small streets and enjoying the culture and atmosphere of Porto, then you can take the street to the right and head down there, and it's a straight downhill shot right to the colorful neighborhood.
Regardless, you should see the Porto Cathedral because it has beautiful views overlooking the Douro River and the city, and the cathedral itself is very impressive.
Also, if you take this way, there's a great mirador right there where the church is that you can look over the back part of Porto, which is absolutely beautiful views.
Once you get to the waterfront, you are going to fall in love with the city even more. This is such an energetic place full of markets and street musicians and beautiful views of the Douro River. There's water taxis and boat tours and plenty of restaurants. So if it's time for lunch right now for you, if you have whizzed through everything and you're ready to eat, this is a great place to pull up a chair and enjoy some lunch on one of the outdoor cafes.
Yeah, we do recommend doing that here on this side because it's just like that atmosphere, that busy atmosphere. And I don't know, I really fell in love with just looking at all those colorful buildings close up.
Yeah.
And strolling through the streets along there as well is really cool. So it's a good place to hang out and have some lunch before you start your afternoon and head over the Dom Louis I Bridge to the other neighborhood on the other side, which is called Nova de Gaia.
The Dom Louis I Bridge is an icon of Porto. It was built by a disciple of Gustav Eiffel.
There you go.
So there you go. And you will see the similarities between that and the Eiffel Tower. This is a massive bridge and you can cross it below or above. It's easiest to cross below from the Ribeira because you can just do a straight walk across the water. But I say go to the high part of it because the views are incredible. It is such a high bridge and you overlook the Douro River and you just see all of both the cities of Gaia and Porto. If you don't want to walk up, there is a funicular that you can take. So make your way across that bridge. It's a really fun stroll.
Yes, and as you come across the bridge, now's a good time to actually jump on a river cruise on the Douro River. We took a 6 bridges cruise from Gaia. You can book them both on the Ribeira side or the Gaia side. Usually if you book it from the Ribeira side, you should book in advance because it's a lot busier. But we booked it from the Gaia side and we just walked right on, which was really great, super convenient. It's about a 50-minute cruise that takes you from one end of where the Atlantic comes into the Douro River all the way along Porto. So you get a good view of not only the 6 bridges, but both sides of the river.
So now it's time to enjoy what you're going to do on the Gaia side because this is the famous place with all of the port wine cellars of Porto.
Yeah, and they're dotted all along the waterfront there. You can actually get a good idea of how many there are because all the way along there's flags and boats that display the different names of the actual port cellars. So you can choose which one you want to go to. There's Calem, which is right on the waterfront there. Taylor's, which is my favorite, I recommend going to. Also,
they also supply the royal family.
Exactly, so it's got to be good. There's Fonseca, so there's lots of different ones that you can go to along the waterfront there. I do recommend that you book a tour ahead of time. When we were there, Calem, it was all sold out. You couldn't get a tour. You need to book at least a couple days in advance so that you can get in and get a great tour of them as well as taste that amazing port.
Really, no trip to Porto would be complete without tasting port wine, even if you're not a port wine lover.
So sticking on the Gaia side of things, port isn't the only thing that's going on over there. Strolling the waterfront is really one of the coolest things to do there. Not only does it give you that iconic view of the Ribeira on the other side, it's probably the best place to see it from that side, but also there's some pretty cool places to visit along the waterfront.
Yeah, I was just charmed by all of the storefronts there. It had this cool store that you have to go into. The Portuguese really love their fish.
Yeah.
And when you go inside, there are thousands and thousands of cans of sardines that have the names and dates on them, and it's so colorful. They're just selling cans of sardines. However, it's like a circus inside. There's winding staircases that reminded me of Livraria Lello. There's a multimedia display. There's circus music. It's just an incredible experience. So make sure you go inside and get yourself a can just to take home, because that is the coolest little souvenir you could possibly get.
It is. Now, sticking with the fish theme, there's also the Bacalau House, which you have to go and check out. Now, if you don't know what Bacalau is, it's actually cod. And the Bacalau House serves cod cakes. So you can go in there, grab a cod cake and a glass of port, and enjoy the atmosphere. Because again, it's another one of these atmospheres where it's kind of circus-like. It has these winding staircase. When we were in there was a gentleman sitting down playing the organ, a pipe organ. Like you feel like you're in some sort of fantasy land while you're in there. So I highly recommend checking out these unique stores all the way along the waterfront there in Gaia.
I really enjoyed strolling the waterfront of Gaia. It's less crowded than the Ribeira, and it has great views of the Ribeira. And then once you're done strolling the waterfront, you can get on the Teleferico. You'll see this, it's just the cable car that goes up from the bottom of Gaia all the way to the top of the Dom Louis I Bridge. And you get some great views of the city from there.
Yeah, and it's also a perfect place to have a pre-sunset aperitivo. Now, we did this in the restaurant that's right at the top of the Teleferico. It has an absolutely beautiful view. If you don't want to do that, you can head over to the Jardim do Moro, which is basically right across the street from there, and enjoy the sunset from there. I know when we were in the restaurant, I was looking over, there were just tons of people sitting out on blankets, just taking in the beautiful sunset. So what we decided to do is, and we suggest you do this too, is book a Fado show. Because Fado is the music of Portugal. And you can get it in Lisbon as well. But we recommend doing it in Porto because we got to see it in a cellar, a port
wine
cellar.
Yeah, port cellar.
Man, what an atmosphere to see Fado music. And if you haven't experienced Fado music, this is the place to do it. Now, after that, it's a great time to go and grab yourself some dinner. You're going to be right down there on the waterfront, so pick another restaurant on the Ribeira that you didn't go for lunch, or you can eat over in Gaia, or you can go over up to Santa Catarina, which is the walking street that you were at earlier, which is full of different restaurants, lots of different choices there.
There's dining everywhere, so you'll have no shortage of choice.
Then as night comes, I do recommend just strolling along there because it takes on a whole new feeling at night. So if you head up to the top of the Dom Louis Bridge and look over there at night, it really is a completely different feeling than seeing it during the day. And I think that brings us to the end of our One Day in Porto adventure.
It was packed, but you can do it. Porto is a small, compact city.
Yep, from the beautiful waterfront to the vibrant streets, we've shown you how to make the most of your one day in this magical city. And don't forget to like and subscribe, and stay tuned for more travel adventures.
Thanks for watching, everyone, and we'll see you next time.
Ciao for now.